Post-processing tips. Tip number 1, curves. Most art programs have a section called curves that allows you to mess with contrast and light levels in high detail. I usually brighten my piece by pulling up the center and increase contrast by pulling in the edges. Tip number 2, sharpening. Sharpening is an effect that's used to increase the clarity of an image, but usually it shouldn't be used by itself because it can be rather harsh. Tip number 3 is blur. I find Procreate's perspective blur setting works really well with sharpening, but if you don't have Procreate, you can just duplicate the layer, Gaussian blur it, and then erase away the parts you don't want blurred. Tip number 4 is chromatic aberration, which has a similar defocusing effect to blur, but I find it's best used in close-up shots, like portraits. Tip number 5 is dust. Subtle dust particles can add a lot of depth to a scene, but be sure to only use it on indoor scenes, and don't forget to blur some of them. Now let's see the before and after pictures of this artwork. Please subscribe if you learned something.